Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it is cold where I live right now. It does not get as cold here as it does in a lot of parts of the world, but when it does get cold, it affects us a lot more than people that are used to this. In fact, if there's even in my part of the country, which is the state of Georgia in the United States, if there is even a whiff or a hint that there is going to be snow, it doesn't even have to snow. If the forecasters say there's very likely going to be an inch of snow on the ground tomorrow, they will close schools just like that. That's how unequipped for the cold and the snow and that type of thing this part of the world is. But that's true. It happens every year that schools get closed down and then it never snows. If we're lucky, we get one snow per year. And this year will be no different. I wanted to start out by showing you the digital currency market. We're at 177 billion right now. The lowest this has gotten since we came into the bear market after 2017 was about $100 billion. That's about where we were. And ironically, that 100 billion or so was reached in last December around the exact day of today. It was literally within 2 or 3 days is when the market hit its low in last December. Now, I don't know if that's a cyclical thing or if that's a coincidence, but I don't believe it's a coincidence. I think that a lot of things in markets happen for a reason. This is no different than any other manipulation type stuff. But look, when I've been getting myself in a position, but if this price stays here or goes a little bit lower, it will remind me of this. Back when I was a kid, deer hunters around this part of the country, some of them would go and they would bait deer with corn. They would put out corn I knew people that would go and pull a pickup truck underneath a corn silo and fill the back of the pickup truck with corn. That is what it's going to be like for the digital asset investor loading up on XRP. If the price stays anywhere near this, I'm just getting myself ready to do it. Okay. Steve Goldbrunson, that reminds me of, what was the guy's name? Richard Bronson. I think it was Richard Bronson. He was in that movie Death Wish. Death Wish 3, I think, was my favorite back in the 80s. Steve Goldbrunson sent me this, and he looks like, let's see what I don't know what this right here is. I don't know if that's where homechurchpanama.com. Panama. I don't know if that's Panama, or where that is. But anyway, he sent me this. I couldn't remember if I showed you guys the follow-up. Julia Chatterley, who interviewed the MoneyGram CEO yesterday, Alex Holmes, I had shown you, I know, the first video that she had put up of her interview, but this is the second part of her interview. More conversation with MoneyGram CEO, talking about Ripple partnership, quarter expansion, volume growth, and maybe one day replacing the SWIFT payment system. Those are large aspirations. And then this lady's so smart, she puts in XRP. She knows how to get us all paying attention. And that is smart because she'll do well with that kind of attitude. And then Jonathan D at XRP_YD7 had put sent me this tweet from Corey Johnson, who used to be the spokesperson for Ripple. I think MoneyGram is not alone in getting what Ripple, powered by XRP, can do. They've just got the guts to talk about it more openly. I couldn't agree more with what he said here. That's exactly right. And, this Alex Holmes being a CEO, he's always very measured in what he says. But just think about it this way. What other companies in the world of finance are out there talking about how they're using a digital asset? And the answer would be none. because XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created and has the greatest team around it that's ever been. Okay, and then Crypto D at the Crypto D, he is the shark man of the digital asset investor. He sent me this. Bitcoin futures market backed by asset giant TD Ameritrade launching today. Bitcoin futures market backed by asset giant TD Ameritrade. New York-based digital asset exchange ErisX, which is backed by giant brokerage firm TD Ameritrade, says trading hours for its cryptocurrency futures market. What I wanted to mention here, they're talking about ErisX, which is backed by TD Ameritrade. It's also backed by NASDAQ and many other companies. But what I wanted to remind you of is that Charles Schwab, who, remember, over a year and a half ago, I said that everybody will be in digital assets, including the two most conservative firms that I know of, Charles Schwab and Vanguard. Charles Schwab to buy TD Ameritrade as free trading takes over. So you got TD Ameritrade and NASDAQ investing in ErisX. And then you have Charles Schwab in buying TD Ameritrade. You tell me where this is going. And then we've got this, X-Men XRP, at XRP 33. Today, this is from Warren Davison, who put up the Token Taxonomy Act. Today, Congress is going to vote on bankrupting America with two giant spending bills to fund the federal government in 2020. And all he's talking about is how these guys are, and this thing just rolls on, and it doesn't have anything to do with party. Nobody is going to do what they have to do because these politicians are all worried about getting reelected. Until you have someone who just flat doesn't care about being reelected, which I don't see that happening ever, you're going to keep seeing this snowball roll downhill. And that snowball is money printing, passing bills to spend money that we don't have. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And this is part of the whole purpose of why digital assets have come on so strong, and why it's gotten to where it has gotten is because of this. It's because of this kind of thinking, and none of these governments are ever going to stop it until it stops itself, and that ends in a collapse or World War III or both. Synod sent me this. This is from Bank XRP. The 2020 payments ecosystem, the trends driving growth and shaping future of the payments processing industry explained. Look at this. And it opens up by saying, this is a preview of the payments ecosystem research report from Business Insider Intelligence. The payment processing industry overview. The power dynamics in the payments industry are changing as businesses and consumers shift dollars from cash and checks to digital payment methods. Cards dominate the in-store retail channel, but mobile wallets like Apple Pay are seeing a rapid uptick in usage. At the same time, e-commerce will chip away at brick and mortar retail as smartphones attract rising share of digital shopping. Digital peer-to-peer apps are supplanting cash in the day-to-day lives of users across generations as they become more appealing and useful than ever. Now, look at the graphic. Now, this is Business Insiders. These are acquirers, processors, card networks. You'll recognize all these names. Issuers, gateways, ISOs, and MSPs, and then non-card payments. And look what we have. Earthport, which is a partner of Ripple. I believe Nacha might be a partner with Ripple. Ripple itself. You got Swift on here. You've got R3 on here. MasterCard, Dwola. Do you recognize any names on this sheet, folks? I mean, because, wow, this tells you all you need to know right here. Okay. Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sent me several things as usual. One was a tweet from Galgatron, which I think is said very well. Imagine the future without digital. And he's saying this yesterday, I guess in response more or less to the markets and what was going on. Imagine the future without digital currencies. Do you really think your grandkids will be paying with plastic credit cards, copper pennies? Of course not. The future is digital. Evolution by attrition demands it. This is not the end for crypto, just the very beginning. He's exactly right. It's the very, very beginning. Just what I encourage everyone to do is still At Christmas, while all of them are pointing and all making fun of it, let them continue to make fun, whatever. But just remember and ask yourself, how many people do you know who, know about Ripple unless you've told them? And how many of them own XRP? It is still such a tiny, tiny amount of the population. And we're still in that same place. And you're going to laugh one day because you're going to say, oh, you have no idea what I went through to get to here, if you have the guts to hold on. Or buy the dips. Alex Kruger, crypto, top 2019 performance. Look at this. Bitcoin. Now, think about this for a minute. Even with all of this pounding and everybody hurting, Bitcoin is up 79%. Binance is up, BNB is up 100%. XTZ is up 259%. You have three digital assets that are up more than you ever see any stocks go up in 1 year, in a bad year. So just remember that. And then there's this from Rhythm Trader. In 2014, CNN published a piece titled, "Where Did Bitcoin Go Wrong?" when its price was still at $333.58. I sure hope they didn't listen to themselves. And this is an article from just yesterday. The best investment of the decade turned $1 into $90,000. And yes, they're talking about Bitcoin. Okay. And you could look at a similar thing for XRP, by the way. Rhythm Trader, nearly half of millennials say they're likely to buy Bitcoin. Why? Stocks and real estate are at all-time highs, and interest rates are at all-time lows. There's $250 trillion in global debt. That's the largest generation decline and dined and dashed on. There's $250 trillion in global debt that the last generation dined and dashed on. Couldn't be said any better than that. Bitcoin is this generation's way to get ahead. And then Peter Schiff said it well in reply to Donald Trump's tweet from yesterday that I showed you. He says, "The dollar will weaken soon, but exports will not zoom. The biggest effect will be to increase the cost of our imports, leading to even higher trade deficits. There is plenty of inflation now, but it's about to get much worse. We can't make America great again by printing money." I can't agree with Peter Schiff on that any more than I do. Now, I just thought that it would be an interesting thing to show you this. What you're looking at is the website for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing for the U.S. Department of the Treasury. And it opens up by saying, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing prints billions of dollars. And this is like a badge of honor. Prints billions of dollars, referred to as Federal Reserve notes, each year for delivery to the Federal Reserve System. U.S. currency is based as a medium of exchange and store of value around the world. According to the Federal Reserve, there is more than $1 trillion worth of Federal Reserve notes in circulation. They wear this all as a badge of honor that they print money out the wazoo, and they print it like it's their job, because it is their job. Now, let's add insult to injury. Do you know what the name of this is? How detached from reality that the people that print this money and have run these governments around the world for years, this is how detached from reality. Do you know what the name of the .gov website for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, the U.S. Department of the Treasury is? Do you know what the name of that website is? Don't take my word for it. Go to moneyfactory.gov and you will find their website. Moneyfactory.gov. What a slap in the face that is. That's why I invest in a digital asset, the greatest digital asset ever created, XRP, that there will never be more than 100 billion of, period. And people will lose their private keys. And so the amount that's actually available for buying and purchasing in circulation is going to go down over time. Okay. And then finally, I had to show you this from Camo Ammo at Rocky Carter Inc. Sent me a picture of this looks like a strawberry margarita to me, and they're at Mexican restaurant. Looks like maybe they're at Chili's, but they're still having a margarita, and they're having some cheese dip. And that makes me want to get the family to go have some. Finally, before we go, I need to remind you all, look at this. Let me do a refresh. This is the Patreon group that Mr. B, Brad Combs, and myself have started. It's called Digital Asset Insiders. Now, you can go, there's a link in the description of all my videos where you can go and sign up to become a Patreon. We are literally offering more than anything you'll ever see in digital assets to the Patreon group. And for that reason, it has grown to now, in 1 week, to 498 patrons. That and today we will cross 500. And before I forget, you can go to digitalassetinsiders.com to become a patron. It's the perfect Christmas gift. But it's important that you understand that as of right now, in 1 week, 498 patrons. This is the fastest growing Patreon group in the history of digital assets. And it is that way for a reason, because we thought it out. We spent weeks going over what would be the best offering that would really provide value and how could we underpromise and overdeliver. And that's what we've done. Now tomorrow, and this is another cool reason that what we're going to be doing tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do a live stream in this Patreon, all three of us. We're going to do a live stream, and we're going to have the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel, and he's going to tell you his story of how he invested $50,000 in digital assets in 2013 and how that all ended up. Fascinating story. I was there, so I'll be able to help bounce off him and add to it. I'm the Digital Asset Investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the fastest growing Patreon group in the history of digital assets can be found at digitalassetinsiders.com. And it's the perfect Christmas gift. And you can get it. I believe you can still get it for $3.99 a month. And then it'll go up to $4.99 a month later. Thanks for listening.